Start with your knees bent. Allow the heaviness of your bones to settle, grounding you down, connecting you to the earth. Specifically, allow the triangular bone at the base of the spine, the sacrum, to settle. And then if it's comfortable to extend the heels away from the crown of the head, you can do that. If that causes any discomfort in your lower back, you can always just keep your knees bent, feet as wide as the mat. Let the knees fall together. Bring your awareness to your breath. And notice the quality of the breath before your practice. Notice if the chest feels tight or open, if the breath is short or long, if the inhales or the exhales bear more weight. And then bring your awareness to your diaphragm. And as you inhale, feel it expand downward. As you exhale, feel the body soften back and spread wide across the floor. Take your next inhale all the way down past the diaphragm into the bottoms of your feet and the tips of your toes. And as you exhale, completely sink into the support of the ground beneath you. Have a few more deep, long breaths, just like that. Breathe your awareness back down into your body and back into the back body plane where your bones and joints stack, where the skeletal system supports us, where we connect to the universe. And then we'll do a quick scan through the physical body. From the bottoms of your feet and the tips of your toes. Inhale and pull your awareness up through the legs. Into your pelvis, your hips, your low back. Notice any areas of tension, soreness, general discomfort. And use the breath to go there. Inhale deeply. Make space. Invite fresh oxygen and blood into those areas. And as you exhale completely, soften. Release tension from your body with your breath. Your next inhale draws your awareness up the torso, into the shoulders, the neck, and the face. Notice where in the upper body you're holding tension today. And use your breath to bring your awareness there. Inhale. Deeply, creating space, inviting fresh blood and oxygen into those areas. And as you exhale completely, soften. Continue the conversation of consciously asking the tension to leave your body with your breath. Lastly, check in with your mind. Notice where your thoughts are at. Notice the speed at which they move through you. Take a big step back from identifying as your thoughts and begin to witness their passing through your mind like clouds through the sky, without getting attached and carried away, without judging yourself for what you're thinking about, but just beginning to notice the habits and patterns in the way the mind turns. And then bring the awareness back and anchor it fully on your breath. We're gonna bring the soles of our feet together here, laying on our backs in Supta Baddha Konasana. And have a few deep, long breaths here. Breathing again down through the lower back, through the legs, into the bottoms of the feet and the tips of the toes. And as you exhale, allowing the diaphragm to soften back, the abdomen to soften, the low back to spread wide across the floor. Have 5 more deep, long breaths here. Breathe into the areas that feel tight and sore and stuck. And as you exhale completely, consciously ask them to soften, release, and let go. Notice if one hip is tighter than the other, and send the breath there. Using the awareness of the breath to work from the inside out, to cultivate balance. And we're gonna keep our left leg where it is. And inhale, draw the right knee in towards the chest. Interlace the hands behind that right thigh and extend your heel up. Press the leg into the hands to lengthen both sides of the lower back and ground both sides of your pelvis evenly. And then release the left hand. You can use the right hand to support your leg as you take it out to the right side. Pressing the left knee away from your right heel, creating that balance and evenness in the pelvis. Beginning to open the hips. Keep rooting your right thigh bone down. Have 5 deep, long breaths. Use your breath to breathe your awareness into the areas that feel stuck and stagnant. And as you exhale completely, allow your body to soften, sink more deeply into the stretch. And with an inhale, bring that right leg back up to center. Interlace the hands behind your thigh. Move your left knee to center, grounding that left foot, and then extend your left foot out along the mat. Toes flexed and active, pointing up as you press the whole midline of the left leg firmly towards the floor. Press that right thigh bone into your hands. And then bend the knee and draw the knee into the chest. Stack the ankle over the knee here. And if it's accessible, you can reach up and grab the outer edge of your foot with both hands. Continue pressing out through the left heel and pressing down through the left thigh bone as you draw that right knee in towards the right armpit. Have 5 deep, long breaths. Allowing the compression at the right hip flexor to soften those muscles there. Keep hugging the knee in towards the chest. Outer edge of the right foot is still parallel with outer edge of the mat. And that outer right hip is rooting down towards the left heel. The breath is still working the magic of expanding as you inhale and softening more deeply as you exhale. Once you've had 5 breaths, you can release that leg to the mat. Shimmy out your hips a little bit. And then draw the soles of the feet together again. Have a few deep, long breaths here. Breathing down into the bottoms of the feet and the tips of the toes. And then allowing the whole front body to soften towards the back body as the back body spreads wide across the floor. Draw your left knee into your chest. Keep your right leg just as it is. Interlace your hands behind your left thigh and extend your left heel up towards the ceiling. Press that left leg into the hands to lengthen the lower back. Create balance and evenness in the grounding of the sacrum. And then release the right hand to the right side. And slowly pressing out through the left heel as you press the right knee in the opposite direction. Stretch that left leg to the left side. Toes flexed and active. The outer edge of the left foot is coming down parallel to the floor. Your left thigh bone still pressing away from the crown of the head, creating balance and evenness in the grounding of the lower back. Have 5 deep, long breaths. Breathe your awareness into the areas that feel tight and sore and stuck. And continue the conversation with each exhale, asking your body to soften and release more deeply. You may feel the hips just release on deeper and deeper, more and more subtle layers and levels as we stay here with the breath. And then with an inhale, bring your leg back to center. Draw the right knee in and extend the right leg out along the mat. Press the left leg into the hands as you press out through both heels and the balls of both feet. Press the whole midline of the right leg firmly towards the floor, and then bend that left knee in towards your chest. Stack the ankle over the knee if possible, so you're kind of like in a lunge on your back. And then if you did so on the other side, if it's accessible, grab the outer edge of your foot with your hands. If that's not accessible, you can just keep the hands interlaced behind your back. All of the alignment stays the same. We're pulling the knee down in towards the armpit. Continuing to press out through the right heel to ground the right thigh bone down, opening up through your right hip flexor. Allowing the compression on the left hip flexor to soften those muscles. Have 5 deep, long breaths. Continuing to root that outer left hip down towards the right heel. Looking for the balance and evenness in the grounding of the pelvis, despite the asymmetry of the shape. Breathe into the places that feel tight and sore and stuck. And as you exhale, see where you can soften, release, and let go. And once you've had 5 breaths, lower your left leg to the mat. Shimmy out your hips a little bit. And then draw both knees into the chest. Make little circles or figure eights with your knees. Massage the lower back. When you're ready, roll to the right side. Press down with your palms to lift up. Come to a comfortable seated position. Keep your eyes closed for just another moment. And check back in with your alignment. Looking for that stacking of the bones and joints that brings a lightness into the body. Remembering always to build our shapes from the ground up. So maybe it will be helpful to inner rotate your thighs and move the flesh of your buttocks out. You want to feel that you are rounded evenly on both sits bones at the base of the pelvis. So you're not tilting your pelvis backwards or allowing it to slouch forward. Press down evenly through both sides. To inhale, lift and lengthen through the crown of the head and the tips of the ears. Again, if it's not possible to get that lift in your pelvis, sit up on a blanket, a block, a pillow, any prop that you have lying around. And then roll your shoulders together down and into the back body. Okay. So we are opening the hips today. And this whole week. The hips are the site of the second chakra, governing our sexuality, our emotions, and our subconscious creativity. The element of the pelvis is water. And the health and vitality of the whole body is very much dependent on energy being able to flow through us. But particularly in the pelvic region, it's about our capacity to release and let go. The hips are also where we hold our traumas and dramas. So it's a place in the body that is dependent on this release and then gets really tight. Our hips are a really complicated joint. So there's many different ways in which they can be tight and open at the same time. So we're going to try to get into that full range of movement today. The action at the pelvis and the energy from the pelvis is always settling from the hips towards the heels, even if we turn ourselves upside down. This action allows us to be grounded, to experience the full range of movement and our emotions deeply without being completely swept away and overwhelmed by every little thing that happens to us. We want to have the courage to shift our gaze inward and go into this area where we kind of bury our traumas and dramas, to bring things from the depths and from the subconscious into the conscious. Because when we refuse to be aware of our traumas, our habits and patterns, our programs and conditioning, they exert a subconscious power over how we carry ourselves, walk, move through the world. As we do this work of unraveling and untying these deeply embedded knots within ourselves, we free up a ton of energy that we were using to hold walls and blocks in place. And that energy becomes something that our conscious mind can use to create art, music, boundaries, business, whatever it is that you want to create. You're just freeing yourself so deeply. So as we get into the hips here, I just like to warn people that maybe some different emotions or sensations or memories will arise. So to not be surprised, but to take that step back, to witness what they are and to allow them to move through you and be released. With an inhale, you can reach your arms up and overhead. And exhale through the mouth with sound, let go. We'll do that 2 more times, beginning to empty the body out. Inhale deeply, stretch past the skin and fingertips. And exhale completely. Release the arms down. 1 more time. Inhale. And exhale. Good. And then we will, using that same breath of reaching down into the earth and then leaning back to stack the bones and joints, we'll Om 3 times, allowing the vibrations to initiate and continue this process of clearing out our energetic blocks. Inhale deeply. Pausing to allow those vibrations to resonate through your body. Observing where the sound gets stuck, where the body constricts. And we'll take a moment to connect more deeply to the breath. We will cultivate Ujjayi breath, victorious breath, victory of the higher self over all of the fears, insecurities, blocks and walls of the small self. So Ujjayi breath is just inhaling and exhaling through the nose while tightening up through the back of your throat, like you're fogging up a mirror. So just inhale deeply through your nose. Exhale completely through your nose. And tighten up the back of your throat. Continue to breathe at your own pace. Allow your breath to become gently audible, like waves crashing on the shore. The sound is purifying. It gives the mind a focal point to steady it throughout the practice so that we can witness what arises, abides, and dissolves. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose in general slows the breath down, which is calming for the nervous system. And it also, when we tighten up the back of the throat, it further constricts the air passageway, generating a heat in the body. That heat is another one of the tools that we use in this practice to clear our bodies out. So you can continue this breath throughout the practice, inhaling and exhaling through the nose, Ujjayi breath, tightening the back of the throat. And then if anything comes up that you want to release, a big exhale through the mouth with sound is always a great way to do that. When you are ready, you can inhale and open your eyes. Come onto your hands and knees. Spread your fingers wide. Ground your knees right under your hips. Inhale, drop the abdomen down, tilt the tailbone up, gaze up. Exhale, root the tailbone down, chin into your chest, spine to the ceiling. Continue at your own pace. Sync the motions of your body with your breath. Allow that synchronicity to bring you fully and completely into the present moment. And move in any way that feels good to you within the confines of the shapes. Allowing your mind to connect and receive the wisdom of your body. Remembering to listen to your body throughout the practice today. Finding your edge. That balance of effort and ease. Where you are working, building strength, stretching. But it's also sustainable over time. Good, you can move in any way that feels good to you here, and we're gonna start to circle the hips. So widening the hips back in one direction, taking them to the other side, bringing them forward again towards the wrists a little bit. Have 3 more deep, long breaths. Circling the hips. Feel free to pause and wiggle around if you find a sweet spot. Then once you've done 3 times in one direction, you can begin to circle your hips in the other direction. I like to close my eyes here. So I'm just really feeling the sensations in the body. Good. And once you've had 3 times in that direction, return to center, tuck the toes, lift the hips high. Press back, downward facing dog. You can feel free to pedal your feet or sway your hips. Have a moment to move in any way that feels good to you here. And get your wiggles out a little bit. And then find some stillness. We want to make sure our hands are evenly grounded with each other and that your feet are evenly grounded with each other. If your hips are tight and your low back is rounded, slight bend in the knees right over the ankles. This is also useful if your knees hyperextend. With an inhale, lift your hips high. Lift from the back of the knees up to the sits bones to create space in the lower back. And exhale, press the thigh bones up and back to where the wall meets the ceiling. Press from the back of the knees down through the heels without compromising the space we've created in the lower back to get the heels onto the floor. Find a balance. We work the arms and the legs for the health, the space, and the freedom of the spine. Let your head hang heavy and have 3 more deep, long breaths. The abdomen draws back towards your spine, so there's no hanging down. When things hang down, we feel compression. That's a sign to make an adjustment. With your inhale, flow forward into plank. Pause in plank. Always an option to lower your knees down behind your hips to work the alignment in plank. As you inhale, lift your booty up slightly. And then as you exhale, root your tailbone down towards your heels. Inhale, lift your abdomen towards your spine. And exhale, extend the crown of the head away from the heels. One more big inhale here. And then exhale, lower knees, chest, chin to the floor. Press the tops of your feet down. And inhale, lift the heart. Roll your shoulders back. Everything that is on the ground presses firmly into the ground to lift the heart and crown. Even in our back bends, our tailbone is rooting down towards the heels. The pinky toenail is pressed into the mat to spread the sacrum. Have one more big breath here. And exhale, seat to heels, child's pose. Allow the weights of your hips to settle energetically towards your heels. And from that grounding in your lower body, get the leverage to inhale and walk the fingertips forward. Breathe length and space into each vertebrae in the spine. Exhale. Soften more deeply into the stretch. With an inhale, lift your abdomen. Widen your left hip to the left as you walk your hands to the right. Place the abdomen on the right thigh. Have 3 more deep, long breaths. Stretching back and widening through that left hip. And with an inhale, return to center. Exhale, pause here. Widen your right hip to the right as you inhale, lift your abdomen and walk your hands to the left. Place your abdomen down on your left thigh. Continue to widen that right side to the right. 3 breaths. Stretching both side bodies and sides of the neck. And then inhale, return to center. Exhale, release more deeply into your stretch. Next inhale, rise, arch the back, gaze up. Exhale, tuck the toes, press back, downward facing dog. Remembering hands and feet evenly grounded. Outer edge of your feet parallel with outer edge of your mat, which is going to rotate the thigh bone into the hip socket all the way up the leg. Inhale, lift and spread your fingers and toes. Lift your abdomen and lift your hips high. Exhale, press your thigh bones up and back to where the wall meets the ceiling. Let your head hang heavy. Create that space in the lower back. 3 more deep, long breaths. And with an inhale, begin to walk your feet forward to meet your hands. Coming into that standing forward bend at the front of your mat. Feel free to bend the knees here if that feels good to you. Let your head hang heavy. Shake the head out, yes. And no. Grab opposite elbows and sway. Release tension from the back, the shoulders, and the neck. Let it drain out through your crown of the head. Inhale, return back to center. And exhale. Pause. Release. With your next inhale, begin to roll your spine up. The pelvis spins around the femur bones. Vertebrae stack. Head and shoulders are the last things to rise. Good. So just taking a moment to check in with our alignment. The alignment of the pelvis is dependent on the alignment in the feet and legs, right? This action of most Americans stand with their feet out and their hips forward. And this is horrible for your lower back, right? In order to get the pelvis in alignment, we have to turn our feet. Outer edge of the feet parallel with outer edge of the mat. And then we take our thigh bones back. So we're sticking our butt out a little bit. Center of the buttocks is coming over your knees and ankles. And it's a balance of both actions. So if you are someone that has tight hamstrings and a tight lower back, you know, this action of sticking your butt out is the main action that you want to focus on. If you are a person that is very mobile in the lower back, then getting the thigh bones back is also important, but balancing that action with rooting the tailbone down. We do this by keeping the thigh bones back and then drawing the center of our buttocks into the midline of the body. The tailbone roots down and the frontal hip bones and lower abdomen lift up. It really sends the energy from the pelvis through the feet, which gives us leverage to lift the whole torso. With an inhale, reach your arms up and overhead. Grab your left wrist with your right hand. And exhale, lean up and over to the right side. Continuing to press from your tailbone through your heel to lift your frontal hip bones. Stretch both side bodies and sides of the neck long. Okay, and then inhale back up to center. Feel and find the center. I can see already my hips went forward, so I need to take my thigh bones back again. Root my tailbone down again. Grab your right wrist with your left hand and lean up and over to the left side. So even as the body is curving, we still want the stacking of the bones and joints in the back body plane so the skeletal system can support us optimally. That right leg wants to come with you, so extra effort to ground down through that right foot. One more big breath. And inhale back up to center. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. Inhale, gaze forward, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold more deeply. We're going to do that a few more times. So even if your knees are bent, as you inhale, lift from the back of the knees to the sits bones. Lift the frontal hip bones away from the thigh bones. And as you exhale, press from the back of the knees through the heels. Continue to lift the frontal hip bones away from the thigh bones. Pulsate like that 3 more times. Inhale, thigh bones back, and lift up. Exhale, fold more deeply. Just feeling and finding those actions, especially if your knees hyperextend, learning to find the engagement in the hamstrings to support your lower back. Good. With an inhale, gaze forward, lengthen your spine. And exhale, step the left leg back. Lower the left knee down. Front knee stacks over your front ankle. You can have your hands on the ground, or you can bring them up to your front thigh, or you can lift them all the way overhead. The actions of the legs to align the pelvis are the same no matter where your hands are. As you inhale, like scissors, pull your legs towards each other. Feel how it lifts you up. It engages the inner thighs and the pelvic floor. And it makes the hips come to face forward. The tailbone roots down. Frontal hip bones lift up. Take the whole center of your buttocks forward. Open up through that back hip flexor. Have 3 more deep, long breaths. Lifting the torso away from the pelvic bowl, no matter where your arms are. Good. And release. We're going to shift the weight back. So coming into a runner stretch or Ardha Hanumanasana, half split pose. The weight of the hips shifts back over the back knee. Front leg is straight. Good. Front foot is flexed. And we're pulling from the heel back into the hip socket. So there's balance and evenness in the pelvis. Stick your booty out behind you a little bit to deepen that stretch. Lift the abdomen. That front thigh bone is still pressing down. And then fold more deeply for 3 more deep, long breaths. Right, with an inhale, lift your chest and your gaze. Exhale, bend the front knee. Tuck your back toes under and inhale, step your back foot forward. Get length through your spine. Exhale, fold more deeply. Again, inhale, gaze forward. Get length through your spine. Exhale, step your right leg back this time. Lower the right knee down. Front knee stacks over the front ankle. Always and forever, the bones and joints stack for support. Wherever your hands are is wonderful. Maybe on the floor, maybe on your front thigh. Maybe you lift them up. But inhale and hug your legs towards each other like scissors. Engage the inner thigh muscles. Lift the pelvic floor. Root your tailbone down here and lift the frontal hip bones. As you take the whole center of the buttocks forward, have 3 more deep, long breaths. And with that third exhale, release. Ground your palms if they're not already. And shift the weight back over that back hip over the back knee. Front foot flexed, pointing straight up, front leg straight. That front thigh bone is rooting down. And then stick your butt out behind you a little bit. Feel how that action of pressing your thigh bones back shifts the shape, shifts the alignment of the pelvis and the shape of the lower back. Inhale, lift your abdomen away from your thigh. Press your thigh bone down and exhale, fold more deeply. 3 deep, long breaths. Allowing the breath to expand you past the edge of your shape, and then to soften you more deeply. Inhale, lift the abdomen, the gaze. Exhale, bend into the front knee. Tuck your back toes and inhale, step forward. Lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold more deeply. Inhale, reach your arms up and overhead, come to stand. Exhale, release your arms down by your sides. Tadasana, mountain pose. Check back in with the alignment in the feet, the legs, the hips. Notice if you have a tendency to put one foot forward, to turn one foot out, to hang into one hip. All of these actions are going to have ripple effects up through the body. So remembering every time you stand to return to center, to make those adjustments. Thigh bones back, center of the buttocks into the midline. Inhale, reach your arms up, and we're going to twist. So the thigh bones stabilize or align the pelvis. So as we prepare to twist, we're widening our left inner thigh to the left, turning the torso. So the twist happens at the core, and our shoulders move towards side body plane. Have 3 breaths. Feel that from the tailbone, you press through both heels, that you're lifting the pelvic floor and turning the core. Reach through the fingertips to soften the shoulders down the back, and return to center. Good. So we need this equal and opposite action to stabilize the body at center. Making sure that your thigh bones are still back, tailbone rooting down. Take the right inner thigh to the right. Lift the frontal hip bones and turn the torso to the left. 3 breaths. Pressing from your tailbone through your heels to give you the leverage to lift the abdomen. Turn so the shoulders come into the side body plane. Good. And return to center. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. Inhale, gaze forward, lengthen your spine. Exhale, step the left leg back. Keep your back knee lifted this time. Front knee is still stacking over the front ankle. Inhale and pull your legs energetically towards each other. Exhale, extend through the back heel and the crown of the head. So there's one long line of energy through the body. And we're gonna lift that left thigh bone up of the back leg, widen the left hip gently to the left to stabilize the pelvis. As you inhale, lift your right arm up for a twist. Have 3 deep, long breaths. Pressing out through your palms to roll your shoulders together down and into the back body. With that third exhale, release. And we're gonna straighten both legs. You might need to hop your back foot in a little bit. You're welcome to keep your heel lifted and just press it energetically towards the floor, or turn the heel in slightly to ground it. But we're looking for this balance and evenness in the pelvis here. So press both of your thigh bones back. Stick your booty out a little bit. If that front knee is bent still, it's okay. But thinking about pressing your thigh bone back and lifting from the back of the knee up as you press from the back of the knee down through the heel. The thigh bones press back, we lift the abdomen, and exhale, fold more deeply. You can look back at your hips here and see what is happening. What adjustments can you make to bring more balance and evenness into the pelvis? Play around with it for 3 more breaths. And inhale, lift the chest and the gaze. Exhale, bend the front knee. Inhale, step your back foot forward. Exhale, fold deeply. Inhale, gaze forward, lengthen your spine. Exhale, step your right leg back this time. Front knee stacks over the front ankle. As you inhale, hug the legs together. Hips face forward, pelvic floor lifts. There's a compression or compaction at the core. And then exhale, extend from the center of the body out through the heel and the crown of the head. Keep your back thigh bone, your right thigh bone lifting up and widening gently to the right. As you inhale, lift the abdomen and lift the left arm up for your twist. 3 deep, long breaths. Pressing out through the palms to roll the shoulders together down and into the back body. And with that third exhale, release the left hand. Straighten both legs. Maybe you want to hop that back foot in slightly. Maybe you're just pressing energetically through the heel. Maybe you want to turn the heel in to ground it down. Either way, that back inner thigh is pressing back. Inner rotating the back thigh to bring the right hip around in line with the left. Left thigh bone is pressing back as well. Both thigh bones pressing back. Stick your booty out, lengthen your lower back. And exhale, fold more deeply. Be with your breath. Breathe it into the places that feel tight and sore and stuck. Gaze at your hips and make adjustments. Play around. Figure your body out from the inside out. One more big breath. And inhale, lift the gaze. Exhale, bend the front knee. Inhale, step your back foot forward, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold more deeply. Inhale, reach your arms up and overhead, come to stand. Exhale, release your arms down by your side. SAvasana, mountain pose. Check back in with your alignment. And next we're coming into chair pose. You can do chair pose with your knees together or your knees as wide as your hips. But when you bend your knees, they need to bend over your ankles. No feet out, knees in. This is a pose where it's okay for your knees to go past your ankles as long as they're moving in the same line as your ankles. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, stick your booty out and sit back behind you. That same action, thigh bones back, booty out, gets you low. Then keeping that, draw the center of the buttocks into the midline to root the tailbone down and lift the chest. 5 breaths here. Finding that balance of those 2 actions in all the shapes. And inhale, rise. Exhale, release your hands to your side. Take your feet wide. Outer edge of your feet parallel with outer edge of your mat. That same action that rotates the thigh bones into the hip socket. Your booty is out a little bit. Your thigh bones are back. So the hips, the knees, and the ankles are in one line. Press from the tailbone through the heels. Arms out to the side. And turn our left foot in slightly. Or turn your left foot in slightly. Turn your right foot out all the way. Press into your front heel and feel the muscles grip at the top of the thigh. The turning out of the leg comes from way up here. That back thigh bone is still back in line with the knee and ankle. Exhale, a deep bend in your front knee. Front knee stacks over the front ankle. There's that slight inner rotation of the back thigh, grounding it in the hip socket. Press both thigh bones back so the hips fully open in the side body plane. Your tailbone is rooting down right between your sits bones. We're not here. The frontal hip bone of the front leg lifts up. Have 3 more deep, long breaths. Good. Inhale, straighten that front leg. Turn your right foot in all the way. Turn your left foot, no, turn your right foot in slightly, turn your left foot out all the way. Press through that heel to grip the muscles on the thigh bone at the top of the leg and turn out from there. Then take that deep bend in your front knee. Stack your knee right over your ankle. Bones and joints stack for support. Back thigh bone is back, in line with the knee and ankle, and inner rotated slightly. Both thigh bones pressing back simultaneously to open the hips. Lift your frontal hip bone. Find your center. The spine is right over the hips. Gaze forward, 3 breaths. And inhale, straighten that leg. We're going to turn both the feet out slightly here and take a deep bend in your knees. Bend your elbows like cactus arms. Stick your booty out to get low. Draw the center of the buttocks into the midline to open the hips. The knees are over the ankles, so your feet turn out however much your knees can turn out. We're going to have 5 breaths. Oh, good. Inhale, rise. Turning that left foot parallel or slightly in with the edge of the mat. Right foot out all the way. Again, really anchoring into the ankle to grip the muscles and turn your thigh out. Then grounding down, press through the big toe mound to lift your inner arch. Make sure that back thigh bone is back, and we're widening it out to the left. So we stretch the side bodies long to come forward and down. Front thigh bone back, front buttock into the midline of the body. Come into your triangle pose. Scan your body from the ground up. Often I see people's back groin like pressed forward. That's gonna compress your lower back. Take that back thigh bone back, root from the tailbone through the heel, front thigh bone back, buttock into the midline, 3 more breaths. Good. Inhale, rise. Turn that right foot in slightly, left foot out all the way. Press firmly into your heel to grip the muscles at the top of the thigh and turn the thigh out. Press firmly through your big toe mound on the front foot to lift your arch. Back thigh bone back and then widening from the inside out. Front thigh bone cutting back. As you stretch, the whole pelvis has to shift for this shape. As you stretch your side bodies long and come down into your triangle pose. Then reconnect and recommit. If the knees hyperextend, take that slight bend in your knees and lift up from the back of the knees to the sit bones. Press that front thigh bone back and hug the buttock into the midline, which lifts the back hip, but without pressing the groin forward and compressing the lower back. The thigh bone is both back and the hip lifts up. 3 more breaths. And inhale, rise. One more time, turning the feet out slightly, this time taking your hands onto your knees. This allows you to relax, to soften into it a little bit more. The knees are still in line with the ankles. So whatever that looks like and means to you in this moment, put your awareness in your inner knee and make sure it's not strained. You can rest your weight on your hands a little bit. And then we're gonna drop the left shoulder down, and gaze over the right. Have 3 breaths. If there's any compression in your lower back, root your tailbone down and lift your frontal hip bone, especially the left one, up. Inhale to center. Exhale, for real, drop your right shoulder down and gaze left. Again, rooting the tailbone down and lifting the right frontal hip bone. Good. Inhale to center. Straighten both legs. Turn the outer edge of the feet parallel with the outer edge of the mat. Hands on your hips, thigh bones back. Press from the tailbone through the heel. Inhale, lift the torso. Exhale, fold forward. Hinge at your hips. You can keep your hands on your hips, or you can bring them to the floor. You can even take your peace fingers around the big toes here. But lift and spread the toes, stretch them out, ground them down. Slight bend in your knees, and from the back of your knees, lift up. From the back of your knees, press down. Lift your frontal hip bones away from your thigh bones. Press through the hands to lift the shoulders away from the ears. Have 5 deep, long breaths here. And inhale, gaze forward. Bring your hands to your hips. With your next inhale, rise. Step or jump the feet together. Let me just check on the time. We're doing okay, it seems. Okay, We'll do a balancing pose that could be a little bit challenging, and then we'll wind down. You are welcome to do this pose with your hands on the wall if you need some stability. What we're doing is Ekapada Utkatasana, one-legged chair pose. So if you want to go by a wall, you're welcome. If not, start with your hands on your hips. Shift your weight to your left foot, outer edge of your left foot parallel with outer edge of the mat. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. You can point or flex your foot, but you want to keep the foot active to keep it in line with the knee joint. Pressing the ankle and the knee towards each other, above the knee, together. Exhale, stick your booty out and sit back. Same actions. Sticking your booty out to get low. Rooting your tailbone down to lift up. Maybe you want to lift your arms up. Maybe you're at the wall. We're going to have 3 more deep, long breaths. And inhale, rise. And exhale, release. Shift your weight to your right foot. Outer edge of your right foot is parallel with the outer edge of the mat. Cross your left ankle over your right knee above the knee, so the ankle and the knee can press together for stability. Point or flex your foot to keep the ankle in line with the hinge of the knee joint. And as you exhale, stick your booty out behind you. Get low. Once you get as low as you can go today, maybe your hands are on the wall. Root your tailbone down to lift the torso. Maybe you reach your arms up. 3 more deep, long breaths. And inhale, rise. Release your leg. And exhale through the mouth with sound. Fold forward. Inhale, gaze forward, lengthen your spine. Exhale, ground your palms. Step back. You can come to downward facing dog or to child's pose. Choose your own adventure. And then bring your awareness to your breath. Notice the quality of your breath at this moment in your practice. Notice if your chest feels tight or open, if the breath is short or long, if the inhales or the exhales bear more weight. And then let's lower onto the knees if you're in down dog, and rise onto the knees if you're in child's pose. We'll do a camel pose variation, super subtle. Just really thinking about working on this alignment at the pelvis and this activation from the pelvic floor, the pelvic triangle. So the knees are as wide as the hips. The hips stay over the knees. Tailbone roots down, center of the buttocks hugs into the midline. Lifting the pelvic triangle in and up. Interlace your hands behind your back. Inhale, lift the sternum. Exhale, draw the arms away from the back body. Inhale, lift the sternum and the gaze. Exhale, continue to draw your arms away. 3 more breaths. Feel how freaking hard it is. But rooting down through the pelvis allows you to lift up. And with an inhale, rise. Sit back on your heels or between your heels for a moment here. Just feel and find that grounding of the tailbone between the sits bones that lets you lift and lengthen through the crown and the tips of the ears. If either of these positions are uncomfortable for the knees or hips, choose a different position. Again, remembering that your body is your priority. That stretching pain, that muscle building pain is okay. But if you ever experience sharp pain in the bones or joints in your practice, that means back off of what you're doing, right? Good, with an inhale, we'll rise one more time. Interlace the hands, switching out the crossing of the fingers behind the back. Root your tailbone down. Draw your center of the buttocks into the midline and lift the pelvic triangle in and up. And then inhale, lift the sternum. And exhale, draw the arms away from the back. Inhale, lift the sternum and the gaze. Exhale, continue to draw your arms away from your back body. 3 more breaths. And with an inhale, rise. One more time, sit back on your heels or between your heels, or find another comfortable seat. 5 breaths. We're gonna take the knees wide and do this like frog shaped stretch. So you want your knees to go out from the hips and you want your feet to be under your knees. You can support yourself with your hands. Lift your frontal hip bones, root your tailbone down. 5 breaths. And then with an inhale, draw the knees together and come to seated. Soles of the feet together. Extend your left leg to your left side. Draw that right foot in close to your groin without twerking your knee. Walk your fingertips out by your left foot. Press your right hip down firmly. Lift the right arm up and overhead. Stretch both side bodies long. That outer right hip acts as an anchor. To breathe, lengthen space in both side bodies and sides of the neck. Have 5 deep, long breaths. The abdomen draws back and it turns to the right. Inhale, rise. And switch sides. You're on the whole midline of the right leg, toes flexed and active, pointing up. Left foot is drawn in towards the groin. Walk your fingertips, right fingertips out towards the right ankle. Press the outer left hip sit bone down. That is your anchor as you inhale and lift up and over. Stretch the side bodies and sides of the neck long. Have 5 breaths. Rooting that outer left hip down and lifting the frontal hip bones on the left side. Abdomen draws back and turns to the left. Inhale, rise. Extend both legs out. Toes flexed and active, pointing up. Pressing the thigh bones down. So we want to have no light creeping through under the legs. The whole midline is pressing firmly down. Maybe so much that the heels will lift and then extend through the heels, soften the calves. Lift the torso. If you feel that your pelvis is tilted back here, the work is just to lift up from the base of the spine. If you feel that your pelvis is in a neutral position and you can hinge at the hips and fold forward, do so. Remembering that it's like not actually about smashing your face into the floor.
but about maintaining this alignment. Midline of the leg grounded, both sits bones grounded as you walk forward.
Have 10 deep long breaths.
And with an inhale, rise. Bring your legs all the way together. Flex the toes. Press the midline, the thigh bones and the whole midline of the leg down. Hands by your hips. Inhale, lift the chest and roll the shoulders back. And again, if the low back is rounded here, the work is just to lift up. Stick your booty out a little bit towards the floor. If you feel that your pelvis is neutral, then you can hinge at the hips and begin to pull forward. Wherever you find yourself working, 10 deep long breaths. Breathe into those places that feel tight and sore and stuck. As you exhale, see what you can soften, release, and let go of. With an inhale, rise. Bend your left leg and ground your foot. Cross your right knee over your ankle again. So we're in that like shape we did in one-legged chair. The right foot is pointed or flexed, but the ankle is active. And then you're scooting in towards your foot to deepen your hip stretch. Roll your shoulders back, lift your heart. 5 breaths. Scoot back and release. Cross the left ankle over the right knee. Point or flex your foot, but keep it active. Scoot in towards that right heel. Feel the stretch in the outer left hip. Remembering it's not about ripping your leg off, but about finding that edge. Lift the abdomen, roll the shoulders back. Have 5 more deep, long breaths. Play with pointing and flexing the foot and find what feels best to you. With an exhale, release. Stretch past the knees and roll the spine out. Oh. Take the knees wide and sway from side to side. Great. Draw your knees into your chest and rock gently from side to side here. When ready, drop the knees to the right. Spread the arms wide. Gaze over the left shoulder.
The hips stack. The legs are at a 90-degree angle of the body or closer. We don't want to be arching our back and twisting. Breathe, lengthen space into the spine. And as you exhale, soften into the back body. Inhale back to center. Exhale the knees up and over to the left. Soften the right shoulder, gaze over. Remembering that if there's any discomfort in the lower back when you twist, you want to back off. Make adjustments. Rooting this top hip down can help create some space. Even hugging the center of the buttocks into the midline here could be useful. 3 more deep, long breaths. Bringing the body out. Releasing your habits and patterns that aren't serving you. Making space for new energy, ideas, opportunities to come through. Inhale back to center. Reach through the knees to grab onto the outer edge of the feet for happy baby. Ankles stack over the knees, but the knees go wide outside the elbows. The hands pull on the feet and the feet push on the hands. There's a dance, a call and response. Move in any way that feels good to you here. It is the final pose of the practice. When you are ready, you can relax, release, and open into Shavasana, final relaxation. And if you have a chair or a couch nearby, I cannot recommend enough putting your legs up for Shavasana. Putting your legs up in this way allows, it's like the only position that allows the psoas to release. The psoas runs from the lower spine, like T9, L1, through the hip joint to attach to the femur. It's the only muscle that crosses hemispheres of the body. It is a deep core support muscle, so it is active when we are sitting, standing, walking. This is pretty much the only shape that allows it to soften. It's also related to our fight or flight, like fear response. And since it never gets to relax and release, it holds a lot of traumatic memory. So taking Shavasana with the legs up, breathing into the lower abdomen and allowing it to soften back and spread wide can be quite a profound experience. We'll spend a few minutes here. It's also always fine to take Shavasana with your legs straight, or to, if you don't have a chair, bend the knees, take the feet wide and let the knees fall together. Wherever you are, allow your breath to be so deep and so long that it touches down into the bottoms of your feet and the tips of your toes. As you exhale completely, residual tension, anxiety, self-doubt, and criticalness leaves the body with the breath through the fingertips. This is a practice of clearing our bodies out energetically so that we can receive more. Direct our energy with more intention. Be more conscious of what we're creating in our lives, in the world.
Take this moment to savor anything anything you received, anything you were able to release from the body or mind through your practice today. Begin to intentionally deepen your inhales. Wiggle the fingers and the toes. Gently sway your head from side to side. With an inhale, reach the arms up and overhead. Give yourself a big stretch from fingertips to tippy toes. Exhale here. Inhale, draw the knees into the chest. And exhale onto the right side body. Use your right arm as a pillow for a moment as you gather your bearings. When you're ready, press down with your palms to lift up. Come to a comfortable seated position. Return your awareness to your breath. And check back in with the quality of your breath after your practice. Notice where in the body you're still holding tension and where some things may have shifted. Observe the speed of the thoughts through your mind in this moment. And then return the awareness to anchor fully on the breath. We will seal our collective efforts with a single Om. Inhale deeply. Bring your hands to your heart and bow your head in gratitude for the tools of this practice that teach us to go inward, to face and slay our own demons. Thank y'all so much for being here. Throughout quarantine, the classes just get longer and longer and longer. So sorry about that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zibby. Have a great day.